Hey, this is Skullgirdle, and welcome to Undead Conversations with Twin Tribes out of Texas, United States. Will you please introduce yourselves and what you do with Twin Tribes, the band?
I'm Luis Navarro. I sing, I play guitar, I play the synth, the drum machine, and I think that's it.
I'm Joel Nino Jr. and I play bass and I sing backup and vocals and I play synth as well.
Okay, I was gonna say, I thought I've seen you actually play the synth on the stage, so, I've seen you guys a couple times, so I kind of know what you're doing when you're up there. Okay, so before we move on, I just want to tell everybody this is the second try at this interview because I, in my glorious spasticity, managed to not hit the record button. So there is a rumor that is absolutely true about Twin Tribes, and that is that they are the nicest people to work with. And I've heard that from other people around that you guys are extremely nice to work with. And I have to say, it's true. It's true.
No,
So,
Thank you.
all right, so you've got a let's just talk about the new stuff first. You've got a new album that's coming out. When is that going to drop?
Yeah, the new album Ceremony is going to come out December 13th. We already released 3 singles in the past couple of months. So, date's getting pretty close. So, yeah, December 13th.
it's a couple of weeks away, right? It's almost a couple of weeks away. It's exciting.
It is exciting, but more importantly, when are the albums shipping out?
So the CDs, cassettes, and the digital album will release right away. The vinyl is what's going to be going into next year. So we're looking at possibly February.
Maybe late January.
Maybe late January. Hopefully we get lucky. The way it goes with the vinyl pressing, it takes a long time. So we're hoping for then, but it's going to be worth it for those who have already pre-ordered, and we promise. It's a good looking
Well,
vinyl.
have you sold out of the colored vinyl? Because there's a mint green and what is it, dark green, and then black.
Yes, the marbled green and the mint green. We have plenty of the black vinyls left. The ones that are running low are the marbled and the mint green.
Yeah, I want to say that once we release a pre-order, maybe, and this goes for I think that for the label that's working with us as well, we probably have already sold out probably like half of all of the colored vinyls.
Right, and that's just with like 2 announcements that I've seen. You guys you have not advertised this. You haven't plastered the entire town and like every Facebook goth group in the whole entire world. I'm not like seeing this 25 times in my feed. So that's a pretty good response. So I noticed that you also have the red vinyl repress. Is that like the third or fourth repress?
That's the second.
Oh, really?
Wait, so we have the original and then we have the repress. So,
Okay,
So the red
I was
one-
thinking it was the third.
the red one is a repress, yeah.
Which is almost going to run out.
Yeah, that one's been kind of flying, as we play shows. Those tend to go faster live, everybody wants to kind of grab the vinyl and,
I would
it's just
expect
really-
the pins and the vinyls to go really
Yeah, the
fast at a
pins.
show. Unless you have a concert T-shirt that's only for the concert, and then it was like, oh, gotta have it, gotta have it. When did you finish? You toured all over the place, but you did it in little fits and spots, right?
Yeah, well, we've been playing all year, and we've been like flying out to festivals in and out. But tour where we are actually like playing almost every day, like back to back, was July. We played almost like not exclusively. We played West Coast, and we had 2 shows with She Passed Away in San Diego and LA. And I think that after the LA shows when we started heading back, and after that tour, we still continued playing festivals and had a little break. Probably during after Absolution Fest in Tampa, we had a little break. We had like almost the rest of October after that, and now we're just getting ready for the last shows of the year, which are going to happen in the next couple of weeks. Next week?
Yeah, next week we're gonna have a couple of weekend dates in Oakland and Los Angeles with
okay.
Castaway again, and then we have a tour. We're gonna be touring behind the ceremony. So as soon as that releases the week after, we're gonna hit the road, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna be going up the East Coast behind that. Yeah.
So that's your third show with She Passed Away. Are you besties now? Are you best friends?
Well, yeah, I guess that.
We met them back in San Diego. The promoters, Charlie and Jose, are really good friends with us. They were really kind to invite us to that show. When we arrived to San Diego, we arrived, I think that at the same time as the guys from She Passed Away. We went to go eat. We met them. Really nice guys, really cool people.
Yeah.
Once we were playing, I mean, actually, right after we played, we kind of like started bonding a little bit more. And then, well, we spent kind of like the weekend together. After San Diego, we had like another show, and they had San Francisco. And then we met each other again in LA at the Echoplex, which was a great show. They're an amazing band, and we feel super lucky to have been invited to play with them again this next week.
Yeah, it's been really cool. Yeah, not besties, not yet, anyways.
Well, you got that next show coming up pretty soon.
we're
You'll be
working it.
besties. A lot of people compare you to She Passed Away, which I think it's based on the hair, honestly. I mean, I think it's based on the look. But does that bother you to be compared to another band?
Not really. Like, to be honest, they compare us more to the South Park Goth kids. I think that there's a more resemblance there, to be honest. But like being compared to She Passed Away is always like a compliment. I don't think that we sound like She Passed Away. They're like a band that we admire. I think that it's just because it's just two guys. It's the hair and
Maybe the look, but it's a compliment, when you get compared to such an awesome band that's been inspiring all these bands that are in the genre. So
Right.
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's not like getting compared to Nickelback, right?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, which I honestly would like.
Yeah.
Right. So wait, where was your show with them again? Was it back to
We're
LA?
playing. So first, we're gonna fly out to Oakland. We're gonna play with
Right.
Cruel Eyes. We've been playing with them all year. We met them back in March, and then from there, we've been playing with them everywhere. So we're excited about that.
Shout out to Cruel Eyes.
Yeah, that's their last show of the year, so it's gonna be amazing. We're gonna be playing Oakland at the Elbow Room first on that Friday, and then we're gonna drive to LA for the She Passed Away show at 1720.
Yeah.
All right. Are you going to drive down Highway 1? Do you have time to take the long way and drive through Big Sur and all the coast?
Maybe that's what we wanted to do originally when we were touring. So like one thing leads to another, and then like we're rushing, and then we don't have enough time to get to the venue. And Highway 1, it's beautiful, but it's still also a longer way.
It's like
So
a 12-hour
see.
drive instead of a 7-hour drive or something. I've driven Highway 1 twice, and from that same route, and it's a long way. But it's worth it if you can do it.
Nice.
Yeah, I've heard it's like the most scenic highways. I drove Highway 1, but probably not all the way. But beautiful drive, and hopefully we'll have time.
Do you have 2 days? Because you lose track of time and what you're doing, and you're all excited, and you're getting to go see your other besties, Crew Lies. And, I've seen them live too, and they're great live. They're really spot on. Of course, I saw everybody at a festival, and everybody really just brings their A game to a festival. I mean, you're super excited, you're at your absolute best, and everything just gets crazy. I guess if I saw them in a tiny venue like I saw you guys the first time, I could see for sure. So you should bring them to Dallas. Just putting that out there. She Passed Away is actually coming to Dallas, but I don't think you guys are coming with them. Otherwise, you probably would have mentioned that.
Unfortunately, that show in Dallas is already full. Like that lineup is set. So we tried, but it was a little too late.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a good lineup, but I can't remember who's playing with them now. I just remember it's December 5th.
All I remember is Temple of Angels. I think I can't remember who else.
Yeah, and I can't remember who else it was, but if somebody was like, "Oh, I'd like to see them," Of course, so much I can't remember who it was, but again, I'm old, so I'm not looking at it right now. So what do you expect? I'm looking at you guys. Let's see, you're in Brownsville. For those of you who don't know, they are at, I think, the most southern border between the
Yeah.
U.S. and, well, the other U.S., the states of Mexico. I noticed you have more Spanish in, okay, fine, it's Phantasma. You have, one of your new songs has a little bit of Spanish in it about being a ghost and stuff like that. And so do you feel like there's an influence there because you're in the southern part of, well, let's face it, what used to be and probably still should be Mexico? So you are down in the most southern tip of Texas. You are 3 miles from the border with Mexico, right? Is it even that far?
Probably even closer.
Feet.
Yeah.
We're
Right,
feet
like the
away.
highway splits, one side is Mexico and one side is the US.
Pretty much. Yeah,
Pretty
it's like divided by a river called the Rio Grande, and like the border is like from here, from my house, it's probably like maybe 5-7 minutes away. So it's super close.
Yeah, and isn't the Rio Grande like the longest river in the US? No, that's the Mississippi. But it's the entire border of Texas. It goes all the way across the northern border of Mexico till except for Baja California. Okay, so do people actually come from Mexico to go to your shows when you're playing in town?
It's happened. There's people from Matamoros, which is the city's name of, like, the border, the Mexico side. So people from Matamoros have showed up to several of our shows in Brownsville. Not a lot, but yeah, there's definitely like a small crowd that walks over here.
That's cool. Oh, and walks over.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like if we have shows downtown, border and the bridge is like downtown, so people can just walk over, and it's super like small.
So is it hard to tell? I mean, if you didn't know about the bridge, is it hard to tell which city is which? Because it kind of works like one big city? Or is there just a definite? Because, the U.S., we have our border patrol. And
Yeah.
if you ever met our border patrol, you probably have because you're in a border town, but yikes. Anyway,
Yeah.
does it appear kind of like one big city? Because I've been to Matamoros and I don't remember because it was a very long time ago and I'm rather old. So like 30 years ago. I haven't been there in like 30 years. So is it just like one big city or is there like a really marked differentiation because of our stick up the butt border patrol and all the wall people?
No, you can definitely see it. Here where we live, there's actually like a wall. Like you can see the border wall that was built. You can see that wall all along if you drive or walk next to it.
There's an actual wall?
Yeah, there's a wall.
But you have a bridge and a river.
Yeah,
Okay,
but there's a wall like right before the bridge. Like the wall is on the U.S. side.
Right, it's on our side.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it's like a necessary, but okay. There's already a river there, and what else? So it's not like really like one big city because the moment that you step out, like the moment that you're in Matamoros, like the entire vibe is totally different. Which is like, yeah, it's you know right away, like the smell of Mexico, like yeah, you're no longer in the States.
Yeah.
Well, that's why when you drive through El Paso, you're sitting there and you look over on one side and you're like, because I was disoriented when I was there. It's like, is that Mexico? And then I look over, I was like, no, that's Mexico because it's more crowded. There's just more people and stuff there. But you start seeing signs that are in kilometers and miles and Spanish, but Mexican Spanish signs. Like I assume that the signs are maintained by Mexico because an American speed sign, we just don't see those in Spanish. Maybe the name of the town or whatever, which is stupid because it's the border. But it's really interesting because you are just driving straight through what seems to be one big city. But there's, I don't know if there's a wall now. It was long enough ago where there wasn't a wall. So you're driving through the Black Hills and it's all really beautiful. And I'm just like, which side is which? Which side is which? And I finally figured it out. Luckily, because otherwise I would have been going to Mexico. I was in the right direction. I just think it's really interesting with border towns sometimes. They seem like they're just one big city that just has this little tiny demarcation. Except you live with a big fat wall. Is it a tall wall?
Yeah, it's pretty tall. It's maybe, I don't know, it's maybe the size of like a two-story building or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's tall. That's taller than I thought because I've been to Matamoros, but I don't remember there being a wall. Has it been there for a long time? I probably just don't remember.
No,
that's
this is new.
Oh, okay. I was like, I remember the bridge. Okay, so the wall is relatively new. So that's part of El Cheeto Loco.
Yeah, pretty much.
That new. Wow, that's
Mhm.
that's interesting and stupid. As you know, I told you guys this the last time. I think that we should have very loose work visas between our bordering countries. It makes perfect sense to me that people can just cross and work instead of having. Yeah, I can't talk about the law. I'm getting mad. It's just so stupid, and it just makes me mad. I can hear you have dogs. Are they Chihuahuas?
Yeah, my dogs are outside right now. This is Agnes. It's right here, but the dogs are outside.
Oh, I heard him. I heard him yipping a little bit. But you have Chihuahuas, right? Like I do.
Yes, the Chihuahuas are outside.
Yeah. Do you think that's a Texas thing, where you live in Texas, you should have Chihuahuas at some point in your life?
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I think
there's
so,
Agnes.
for
Okay,
sure.
so what made you decide to put tiny bits of Spanish? Because I went and looked at Ceremony, right? That's the name of the album, is Ceremony. And then one has a couplet in there of Spanish. That was very exciting
Mhm.
to me. I like the way Spanish sounds with goth music. I think it sounds really pretty. But what made you decide to put a little bit of Spanish in there?
I think that it does have a lot to do with where we're from. I mean, we speak Spanish to each other a lot. We speak
Mm-hmm.
Spanish with our friends, with our family. I'm a huge fan of rock en español, or also like this movement in the '90s that came out of like the movida with like all of these like new wave and post punk bands
Mhm.
influenced by like Parálisis Permanente and all this stuff that a lot of people like. So to me, it was like, yes, it has to happen. And then that was just the chorus. I'm sure that in the future we might have like a full Spanish song.
Well, I mean, yay. That's very
Yeah.
exciting. In the U.S., especially, like everything below the Mason-Dixon line, for sure, has a ton of Spanish-speaking people. I mean, really, there's a ton. I'm always excited to see Spanish, and I always love to see a goth band that sings in Spanish. And one of
Oh,
my
cool.
favorites is Godless Procession because they mix the sound of the Mexican vocals, Mexican traditional vocals, with Gothic rock and sing in Spanish. And I'm like, yes, please, yes, please. But the other thing
Yeah.
I noticed about Ceremony, and this brings me back to some other stuff with Shadows, is that there's a lot of vampire, lot of vampire. I mean, is the whole
Shadows,
album about vampires and ghosts?
Shadows or Ceremony?
Ceremony.
Um,
Yes. Just
well,
can I say yes?
Shadows for sure was influenced by not just like vampires in general, but like Shadows was influenced by the movie The Hunger, and I don't know. I was just tripping out. I was thinking this is a really great movie,
It
and
is.
lyrics came out. But not just that, like it was an inspiration of a lot of things that we like the movie from the '80s, The Dark Crystal is one.
Mhm.
Like I guess just occult literature. Yeah, just a lot of things, that like I guess intrigued us in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we started writing the lyrics for Ceremony, or starting writing like the songs for Ceremony in general, we can totally tell that it is like a change of pace. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
some songs are still dark, but I feel like a lot of the songs, or several of the songs, aren't as dark anymore, and we're not just talking about like I don't know, like vampires or creatures or things like that. Like this time is now a little bit more intimate. There's like songs about love, loss, pain, and just everything that both of us were feeling at the time, I guess. So I think that it's probably a little bit more personal.
Right. It's about life.
Yeah, I think again, as Luis mentioned, Shadows is you can kind of like say it's from a third person perspective, somebody telling you a story and telling you stories of all of these like occult things, vampires, and as for ceremony, it's us. It is things that affected us directly, so now it's like first person. It's we're us who's talking, and so I think that's the biggest difference in the lyrics in particular.
I would think it would be harder to write about yourself than to write a story. I guess it just depends on who's writing the song, who's doing the lyrics, putting the music together, and all that kind of stuff. What is the song Seven about? Seven. The seventh song is called Seven.
Yeah, sure.
Is that about your seventh birthday?
No, and then it's not his 7th birthday. I'm really excited about that song. I think that when we were deciding the order of the singles, 7 was definitely like considered for the 3rd single. We ended up deciding for The River. It's funny because 7 is probably one, to me at least, it's one of the darker songs of the album, and sometimes it's really hard for us to come up with like titles. And for the longest time, 7 was just track 7, and until the person that designed all of the layout of the cassette, CD, and vinyl, which is Nick Culp from Lunacy, he just started doing his thing and left the track name. Instead of putting it track 7, he just put Roman numerals, and we were like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
This is symbolic. This is symbolic. Yes, let's make it work.
Yeah.
All right. So he's part of the artistic process of the music as well.
Absolutely. We wouldn't be able to kind of like the repress and ceremony, all that artwork. I mean, it's part of the band too. It's part of the aesthetic of it.
Right.
Yeah. So he's a huge part of it. Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's really amazing and cool that you just gave him credit out loud. Some people don't do that. Some people, I personally think that you should always, if somebody contributes, you always give them credit. If you're inspired by it, you give them credit. You always give them credit. So, good job. Is Agnes wanting to get up on the table again? Because we've seen her 3 times now, I think.
She knocked down the laptop a little while ago.
Yeah, I noticed. You know, we had a little technical difficulty this time, not on my side.
Yeah.
Excuse me while I look to make sure we're recording. We're still recording. I have to know, in shadows, whose car is that?
So that is, I believe, the director's, John Giorgio's. I think he said that was either his uncle's or his father's car. I think he's living in Atlanta right now. But he came down particularly. He came down for Thanksgiving, wasn't it Thanksgiving? Yeah. Yeah, he came down for Thanksgiving about a year ago, and so he pretty much set everything up. He was just like this director, script writer, can I cuss?
Did they drive? I've been cussing the whole time, dude.
Okay. Fucking magician. He was a fucking magician, is what it was. And but yeah, he got the car. He got he set everything up. So yeah, I want to say it came from his uncle or his dad, one of those two. I'm sorry, John, if I misspoke.
What kind of car was it?
Volkswagen, right? Yeah, it was Volkswagen.
It was a Volkswagen, an old one though, an original Beetle, I think.
Super dope though.
Yeah,
it was cool beans.
It was pretty cool. Yeah. It's pretty cool, and that one had blood, and several things that you do have blood or mention blood. Something. I'm surprised. I'm waiting for that song title to come out. So yeah, I was just watching that, and I was like, "Where's that car from?" I really actually liked that video, and I wasn't sure if you did the thing where you just set up cameras and just did your own thing. So you actually had a director.
Oh yeah. No, it was a whole production. We were pleasantly surprised, for it being our first video. We kind of lucked out in him working with us, and people. Well, we always get good feedback from it. So yeah, it was great.
It's good. Great. I mean, it's a good video. I like it a lot. So, are you making any more on the new album? Will the car be back?
The car might not be back, and we're not going to be working with John for this next video. We're trying to release a video for the first single, maybe. But I think that we don't have a timeline for that yet, since we're getting everything ready for tour. So probably as soon as we finish the shows, we're gonna actually like start working on that soon.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I was thinking, what are they going to come up with next? And who's going to get stabbed and sacrificed and bitten?
Everybody.
Everybody. Interesting videos. I mean, it's, it's not like you have a Russell. Do you know who Russell Mulcahy is?
No.
Come on, 80s boys. Come on. Russell Mulcahy did all those famous Duran Duran videos. Hungry Like the Wolf, Rio, Girls on Film, I think. So he's like very high budget. And that's always, sometimes for me personally, when you don't have that budget, you have to be pretty damn creative. So I thought it was pretty creative, and I can't wait to see the next one. But that made me think of something. So I know that at least one of you, Luis, listens to a bunch of 80s. I assume you both do.
Yeah.
But you have that 80s playlist, and when I'd interviewed you before, of course, I quizzed you on that 80s playlist. So let's talk your 80s music love. What is your favorite 80s band? And I actually thought of this because I was thinking about Russell Mulcahy made me think of Billy Idol, who couldn't afford Russell Mulcahy or understand what the hell the guy was doing. So White Wedding was a lower budget, kind of more throw it together video than you would realize because of that. They just couldn't handle that guy. So what's your favorite 80s band?
I think that I feel super pressured, but like a favorite, like the concept of a favorite everything is like, first of all, I'm super indecisive. So like the concept of a favorite something is super hard for me. So I'll just give like a top, like, oh yeah, this is top 3, this is top 5, this is top 10.
I call them like current favorites. And go to top 10 and then be like, no, maybe top 25 of all time.
Yeah. I think that like the bands that I really love from the 80s, and I'm gonna feel bad because I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna like leave a band off, and then I'm gonna be later like, why didn't I mention this band? But anyways,
I can do titles, and I can just like I can scroll all these bands.
Yes, that'd be perfect. But for sure, Depeche Mode. Depeche Mode is one. I think that Tears for Fears. Well, Billy Idol, that's funny because I did a Billy Idol karaoke song when we were on tour. So yeah.
Yeah, books.
Oh, nice. I covered Eyes Without a Face, and it came out like shit, but it's all good.
It's good karaoke, though.
Yeah. The Smiths, I love the Smiths. Morrissey on his own is meh. What else? I love The Wake. Well, can you give some bands so I can go back to my playlist?
Yeah, you're naming all of them. Right? I think just for me, like Depeche Mode is all. Like that's all you really need. Yeah, they're so dreamy. I'm just thinking about them now.
They are almost their own genre because they're that band that people fight over because people want them to be goth because the Depeche Mode has so much meaning for them, but they're not really goth. They're new wave and they're really good. And here's the thing. I just saw the movie that came out last Thursday. My friend and I went to go see. There's a documentary about them. And it's about a group of people that get together to go to concerts all over the world. And they follow like 6 people, but there's a group of like 10 or 50 people that go and meet each other when they can get to concerts. Like there was a girl that came from fucking Mongolia to Berlin to go to the concert that they filmed. And I've never been a huge Depeche Mode fan. Let's just call a lot of it overexposure from the 80s. Same with The Cure. I hated The Cure. And so and I don't hate The Cure anymore, by the way, either. So I go to this movie because my best friend, she's the one I dragged to your show, and she liked your show a lot. And Wington, all that stuff. I dragged her out to shows. So I pretty much owe it to her to go to this movie. And I'm watching it, and my favorite parts, I kid you not, were the live performances. And I cannot believe what an incredible performer, Dave. I think he calls it Gahan. I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's spelled
if
Gahan. I cannot believe what a great performer. What the whole band were. It was so good, and I was just like, okay. And luckily, to get in preparation for this, I bought the first 4 albums. And I
Nice.
now actually love Black Celebration and Music for the Masses. Both really, really good albums. So I was like, oh my God, I think I like Depeche Mode now. Hey, look at that.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Welcome.
I see why people thought when you start listening to the lyrics and you start thinking about what was happening because back in the 80s I know what was happening at the time. I know what they were singing about. And it just there's so much social commentary in their music that I'm like, oh, no wonder people are so crazy about this band. But I was just like too much on the radio. Although I always liked Personal Jesus, which is kind of weird because that's like the most played song in the U.S. Who knows?
hmm
But I think Enjoy the Silence is probably my favorite one.
Nice.
Anyway, anything besides as well as Depeche Mode, they do kind of define a whole movement in the 80s
hmm
and 90s.
Yeah, I agree for sure. I think that the Depeche Mode convention in LA just passed. I think that they're a huge influence for sure. And like just 80s new wave in general because like we don't like to feel limited to just liking dark stuff like post-punk or cold wave or dark wave or any of the waves.
Yeah, like I personally love David Bowie, and like he's quintessential, for me. Like I wouldn't be the musician I am today without him,
Well,
and
his influence on goth is large. Glam rock,
very
all of glam rock's influence on goth
absolutely,
is large, and to deny it and or say you can't like it because you can only like dark stuff, that's stupid.
yeah,
It's just
ridiculous.
stupid.
Yeah,
I know
for
almost
sure.
no
Like
musicians that listen to mostly goth stuff. Very few.
yeah,
Very few.
yeah, for sure. Like whenever we are driving or on tour or something, we have to we can like we listen to so many genres just because like we get like it's too much. It's too much.
Just like anything, overexposure
You
leads
get
to
sick of it.
staleness,
Mhm.
and so you gotta switch it up. You gotta switch it up. You gotta listen to different things. You gotta keep your mind open and available to different music. So
Yeah, so there'll be times where we'll be blasting like Prince. We'll listen to an entire album.
Which one?
Sometimes we're listening to like I don't know, Gary Newman, or sometimes like Psychedelic Furs or whatever. Like any other new wave like stuff is like really cool. Sometimes we're listening to like just comedians in a podcast.
yeah,
I don't know, like
I
anything.
love me some podcasts. Yeah.
Right. I listened to some of those too. Yeah, one of my favorite 80s bands is Culture Club, except for Karma Chameleon. That song is not that great,
That's
but
that's
I
like the one
love
that
Culture Club.
everybody knows.
Yeah,
Right. And I was like, do you really want to hurt me? Or Church of the Poison Mind is my favorite. I love that song. And I, yes, of course, read books about Culture Club and Boy George's autobiography because I love Culture Club. So, and that's got that reggae beat, like that old school kind of. Bauhaus had reggae beats in some of their songs, and some of the early stuff in the old post punk had so much eclecticism in it. And sometimes I feel like we've lost a little bit of that. And so when something comes along and it's a little bit experimental, but it still kind of has that dark feel, that dark post punk feel, I get very excited. And I'm very excited that post punk is infiltrating gothic rock and dark wave, and it's all kind of all of a sudden post punk guitars are everywhere. But that's
Mhm.
inside of genre. So for outside of genre, what's the weirdest shit you listen to? And you can't say podcast because you already said that.
outside of genre, what's the weirdest thing?
I listened to like not so long ago. I was making a playlist that is super specific. I was making a playlist of exclusive '90s Spanish pop. So like it was like there's boy bands in there. There's like all girl bands, and there's like mixed and like I don't know. It's just like I grew up I was like born in the late '80s, so I grew up all of the '90s, and I was thinking of like throwing a show. Like I don't know if anybody would go, but
Somebody would.
listening to a bunch of like like bands that I grew up like. I was a kid. I was listening to all these boy bands. So, and it has like a lot of elements of like new wave. Like I was like, damn, this sounds nice. So I think that's like the most weird shit that I've been listening to.
Weird.
I don't know if that's
Well,
really
I mean,
weird.
on the way back from this past weekend of shows, I put on some '90s hip hop. So, you know, I was listening to that. I mean, I don't know if that's weird, but I guess it's
Like NWA.
Yeah, NWA, Eazy-E, Tupac, you know, Biggie, all that cool stuff. But yeah, you know, again, you switch it up. You switch it up every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I have a deep and abiding love for Spanish classical guitar.
Oh.
And, sometimes I will listen to klezmer music. Klezmer, but or different kinds of Romani music. We Americans call it gypsy, Balkan brass band, a lot of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't just listen to goth music. I've never just listened to goth music. They didn't play just goth music. I don't know if I've ever been to a goth night that was just goth music. I mean, other than live bands. So when I see people that think that your whole house has to be black, it has to have cats and bats and spider webs in it.
I have a black cat called Salem.
Right, you have to have your little gothic. Everything has to be perfect, aesthetic, gothic, and it just looks like a little picture book. And then all they listen to is goth music. I was just like, that's too much, man. That's too much. I like my weird old lady shit. Like actual like Arsenic and Old Lace, that old movie Arsenic and Old Lace. So you know whatever. But yeah, when I talk to musicians, y'all generally have much more varied taste than I think your fans maybe. But that's not always true because then you have fans that are like me, and I'm like, no, listen to almost anything. I don't hate a lot of music.
Yeah.
Some of those '90s boy bands, though. Luis, I'm gonna have to pass on that playlist. I just don't know how much menudo I can listen to. I can't remember any of the others, but yeah, they were pretty popular. I mean,
just wait. He's gonna send you a Timbiriche track, and you're done.
Yeah, you'll see. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sure. I'll see what you're talking about. But then you threw in the Wake, which was really interesting because I was like, yeah, okay, that's interesting. Do you put that in the middle of your boy bands and see what happens and see if people can't figure out what the hell's going on?
Oh, but no, like the Wake. No, I wouldn't throw in the Wake in that show. I would just stick to like that exclusive like Spanish pop. The Wake is just a band that I love.
Right. Well, they did some pretty good stuff. No, I'd be interested to maybe see the crowd at your next Spanish '90s pop party.
Oh, we're having one this Saturday, and it's like all of that same wave of Spanish musicians that emerged like in the 80s and 90s, and like we're DJing nothing but that, and like this is the second show that we do like that. The first one was great turnout.
I thought you said nobody would go. I thought you said you were thinking about it, but nobody would go.
Oh no, but I'm talking about like Spanish, like post-punk and new wave. The one that I'm talking about right now is like pop. It's like super pop, super pop.
No, I see what you're saying about Spanish post-punk and new wave. I would hope that because you're in more of a Spanish-speaking area that people would go to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the second show we did. The first one, like, it was really good.
I'd be super excited about that.
And like what makes me excited is that it's not something that's just going on here at the border. Like a promoter from Phoenix, Hector, he's also throwing these kind of nights, and it makes me super happy. Like it makes me like want to expand. Like hopefully the next time we go to San Antonio or next time we go to Austin, do one of these things. Just so, like people can have something. Like it's something different because a lot of people might like these bands but don't have a place to listen to them, and like it'll be weird that you walk into a bar and you're listening to like, oh wow, I'm listening to like, you know, Prisioneros, or I'm listening to whatever. So it's like I guess that's what we're trying to achieve.
Right. I've actually seen somebody in some Facebook group, and I don't remember which one it was, asking for American goth, post-punk, darkwave bands that sing in Spanish. You want to talk about something rare? I mean, you guys have like a couplet in one song. So I
Yeah.
haven't seen a lot actually singing in Spanish. I'm not sure
Vueltas?
really
Vueltas?
who.
I think Vueltas sings in Spanish. I think.
Vueltas from Portland, I think.
No, they're from. No, they're from somewhere in California. They were in Portland for that show.
Oh.
But yeah, Vueltas. Yeah, they sing Spanish, and they were amazing. They were really good when we saw them. Even Cruz de Navajas, half of them were from here. I believe.
Yeah, but
right?
aren't they? Where are they located? Are they in Mexico City now?
Cruz de Navajas is
Costa Rica.
originally three members, and one of them was located in Mexico City. Alex, the bass player, is in Oakland, but he's also from Mexico City, and the guitarist, Winter, is from California. But they just recently, I think that they just recently like stopped playing together.
Yeah, they disbanded recently. But yeah, I mean that's another half American band, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, singing in Spanish.
Fact check. Vueltas is from Portland. Vueltas is from Portland. Yeah.
Gotas?
Vueltas, yeah. Vueltas.
Okay, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
I just heard it wrong there. I was like, Gotas? That's a song.
Tortas.
Tortas, yeah.
I'm like, what? I don't know what's happening. Well, all right. There's one American band that's singing in Spanish. Well, there's actually a whole hemisphere of American bands. Let's think about it. That are singing in Spanish because it's the Americas.
Yeah, there you go.
One Northern U.S. band. Well, I just always think it's really exciting to hear goth music in not English. And I know everybody sings in English, and I talked to Gustavo from Ornamenti di Oro, and he said the reason that he felt people sing in English is because that's what you grew up with. That's what you always heard. You didn't hear it in Spanish, so you didn't have that influence, and it just doesn't occur to people to sing in Spanish. Singing in Spanish, and I was thinking with Severance, they also sing in English. Like I think exclusively they sing in English, and I'm just like, well, why are you not singing in Spanish? Because they're in Monterrey, so they're not far from you, a few hundred miles.
Monterrey is like maybe 4 hours from here, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, one of them came up and visited and was stopped and had to be border checked in San Antonio. I was like, San Antonio? Weird. That's really far like into the state. Yeah, I was just like, what the fuck, man? Come on, you're on vacation. What the? Why would you have to? I thought that I don't know. I don't get it, because I was like, well, Monterrey is like 4 hours down. Is it in the airport? No, it wasn't in the airport. It was on the road. They were driving, and I was like, what is happening with that? Do you know of anything like that north of you?
I've never heard of anybody being checked after the checkpoint. Yeah, like I had never heard of that before.
Me either, and I thought that was really weird, because it's not like, I mean, he's just some guy. I mean, seriously, most people in their cars come in to and from across whatever border, whatever country, who cares? It's just somebody in a car. There's nothing. You're just some person who's got a job, a family of some sort. You maintain a household. That's all you are. You're just some regular person. And I'm telling you, Carlo does not look shifty at all. It's like, why did they stop it? But I guess they just stopped any car with Mexican plates. They had Mexican plates. They must have driven up. Weird shit. So I was like, well, maybe if we sing more Spanish, maybe people will get used to it. But whatever. Border patrol, and well, if we have issues with police, I'd say it's more so with Border Patrol. One side. At Absolution Fest, you guys hung out with the crowd because you performed the other night. I saw you Friday in the back with Obscure Undead.
Yeah.
A lot of, we'll call them party photos, or we could call them drunken photos.
Wasted.
Well, okay, fine. That's what was really happening. But everybody was really excited, and it was a lot of fun. So, do you mingle with your fans after shows, or outside of shows, because that was the day before you performed, whenever you can?
You'll find us at the merch booth after every show.
Well, right after you play, yes. But at a festival, you've got 2 days. Are you usually at the merchandise booth?
Yeah, I'm always there. Like usually I don't go, I don't stay in the back. I'm there like talking to people or
Nice.
selling merch. Yeah.
Right. So you don't come
I
out from behind the
that's like
table and hang out with people, or is that just kind of a luxury that
um,
you had it at
no
Solution Fest?
no, I mean during like certain points we leave. It's either we have to take turns because there's nobody else at the merch table.
Right.
But yeah, we'll go see the other bands or we'll hang out. The reason why we were out there on that day is because we didn't play. So it's pretty
Right.
much like let's hang out, right? So
Right.
that's why that was pretty fun. We got to see all the other bands. But if we get the chance, yeah, we're there. We're there talking and mingling with people and taking pictures and
I think that that's
And
kind of
getting
like the best part sometimes, like meeting people. Like not only meeting bands, but we meet a lot of people everywhere, and it's cool to make friends and just hang out sometimes.
a lot of
let's all
interesting
make
folks out
friends.
there.
Right. Well, there were a lot of drunken people just grabbing you guys to make you take photos.
Yeah.
I was just like, "Come on, Malik," because he was very Malik. I forget. I don't remember if it was the night he had his hair up. But he was just very excited,
I
and they
remember.
kept dragging you into more and more photos. And I was like, "We should have got a professional photographer for this if we are going to take 37 photos with Twin Tribes." They did the same thing to Vincent from Wingtips, and it was the same thing. They were playing the next night, so he was out partying and stuff like that. But at the Crowbar, also the first night, there was just the one merch booth, right? And people took
Yeah.
turns. Everybody took turns at that booth. So, I mean, that gives you guys some time off and still a chance to actually sell a couple things and I don't know, get paid.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
we all know that the albums and stuff like that. And when people just stream you on Spotify, you're not making any money. Okay, y'all, you know that. I've lectured about this like a million times. And with bands, I mean, you'd have to be the freaking mission to sell enough to just live off of selling your CDs and records and shit. If that.
Yeah.
If that. I don't even mean the whole band. I mean, it was just the two of you. I'm just talking Wayne Hussey on that one. So,
Yeah.
any opportunity to actually be able to pay for accommodations and for flights and all that kind of stuff. Because I don't know if festivals actually fly you out. Some do, some don't. Some can
Mhm.
afford to put you up in a hotel or whatever, and some can't. Or they can find you a decent host family, I guess, to stay with.
Mhm.
Because I can imagine that that's got to be a crapshoot sometimes if they're putting you
Yeah.
up with somebody that they know. So I'm just saying, y'all, buy the fucking shirt, buy the fucking CD. I don't know if you make any. Do you make any money on vinyl at all?
Yes. Yes,
Oh,
we
you
do.
do? Okay, because vinyl is expensive
Mm-hmm.
and
It is
it's
expensive to
small
make.
runs. So I'm always like, oh, are they making any money? Just buy the shit when you can. And if you're going to share stuff or you're going to just, what do you call it, stream it, just stream it on Bandcamp or not Spotify. Not
That,
Spotify. What's the other one?
that'd be great.
Pandora. Like where you make a tenth of a penny for every 1,000 plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Anywhere
you're
you can play
lucky.
it, really. I mean, YouTube, Spotify. I mean, we don't get
Right.
much, but go to a show. Go
Oh,
to a show
hell, well,
if
yeah,
there's
obviously.
yeah. Because I mean, and even if you're shopping online and you buy stuff like merch like that, that's great too.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
we would love just anybody out there who's not gone to one of our shows. Like if we're near you, like come out,
Oh yeah,
bring a
it's worth it.
friend.
It's worth it.
Bring-
But also
Yeah,
getting your ass out to a goth event and having more numbers in the audience because y'all, I've been to shows where there are like 20 people at the show and it was out of town. These were people that came from out of town and they
sure.
didn't come back to Dallas because that show was so low attended and that band did a really great job live. And so when I
Mhm.
go, it's like, let's see, Clan of Zymox played in a club that had about 200 people. Clan of Zymox, y'all, they're like a legend. 200
Yeah.
people. It was fantastic for me, who had never gotten to see them back in the
Yeah.
80s, but and they are good, boy, they are worth it. But to go see, I think the show where I was at with you guys, you probably had about 60, 70 people in the audience. I think
Mhm.
from my perspective, and I was like, wow, I thought there'd be over 100. When I saw Wingtips for the first three numbers, nobody was up by the stage. I mean, I was like holding my seat at the wall, but nobody
Yeah.
came up to the stage. They had to play three numbers before people came in because they didn't know who they were. They weren't the headliner. I was like, wait, you're not the headliner? You're the traveling band and you're not the headliner. So yeah, I bought the fucking shirt. I bought
Yeah.
the shirt. I bought
That's
those show
awesome.
tickets were $7.
Yeah.
$7. So two of us got in for $15.
Wow.
But if you're a person you're like, well, I don't know anybody who is goth or da da da. I take my not goth friend. I drag her ass to all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
Take a
amazing.
friend. Yeah, because I'm never going to go to a show by myself. That freaks me out to a level that is. So
Mhm.
really, I guess I should get the hell off my soapbox. But you're right. Go to the show. Walk up to the merchandise booth when the band is sitting there. Introduce yourself. Tell them they did a good show. Just that tiny little bit.
Yes.
Because
You know,
I've seen so few modern goth genre bands be dicks to their fans. I've seen it.
Mhm.
I've had it happen. Everybody's usually really nice, and they're happy to talk to you.
Yeah, yeah, and I know it's hard. It's hard because
Yeah, it is.
it's hard for me too to go up to somebody. I mean, just even talking to the guys that she passed away, like they were talking to me, and like in my mind's like, oh my god, they're talking to me,
You're like,
right? But yeah, but yeah, come on, we try our best to at least be friendly and talk to as many people as we can. And so don't be afraid, don't be shy. We're not gonna be dicks.
Yeah,
No,
go to
no,
a show,
you're
come
safe
say
with
hi,
yours.
and if you can, buy an album, buy a shirt, so we won't sleep in the trash.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. But I've heard you guys like to sleep in the trash. I've heard
Oh, I
that you
love
booked the
it.
dumpster special.
Especially if it's full of sharp objects.
Right, and there's a lot of puke outside.
Yeah.
Like, oh, where's the puke dumpster? That's where we're staying. Got a pillow? But yeah, seriously, talk to the bands because you never know. Yes, every once in a while you're going to get somebody who's going to be kind of a dick, but it is so rare at this point. I've
Yeah.
had more people actually hug me. I'm like, wait, what happened? I just came up to tell you that your singing was really great. Ian from True Lies hugged me, scared me half to death because I was trying to walk away because everybody was yelling at me. So it was like 4 o'clock in the morning outside the castle. And I just went up because I wanted to tell him because he was spot on. His enunciation is great. He is absolutely on key from the second he opens his mouth through the whole show. So, and one of my subscribers found me and then was like, you got to meet him. You got to meet him. I was like, this is getting weird, man. This is getting weird. And then he hugged me and I was like, holy shit. Wow. So you never know what's going to happen. And he was just sweet as pie. So talk to the bands.
Yes. Yeah.
Wear the shirt. And for those of you who are tiny, slender people, I hear they make great pajamas when you wear a size 3X. So that I can't have a shirt. I've had bands dig through every single thing they have to find my size. So if you're a larger size, just give it a shot. Just give it a shot. They might have one of those down in the bottom, and it's happened to me before. Okay, I said I was going to stop the lecture, but I can't help it because I'm just like, you should be paid for what you're doing. You should be paid. And every time I see somebody who's just like making stolen playlists and all sorts of shit, it just pisses me off because I actually buy all my music. Yeah,
that's good.
Well, I can afford it. I promised myself because there was a short period of time where somebody was sharing music with me, and I was just like broke as fuck. You know how it is. And I vowed to myself as soon as I could afford music, I was going to buy all of my music. So I do because I can.
It's wonderful.
Well,
it's wonderful.
More people need to do it because $1 for a song that you listen to 27 times on streaming. Yes, sometimes $1 is a lot. I've lived that, but most of the time you can kind of 99 cents. Cheap it out. So here's my favorite question. It's the only consistent question I ever ask people, and that is, what would you like to say to your fans and people who love your music? What would you like to say? Advice? Just anything you can think of that you'd like to say to them.
I think that it goes in hand with what we were saying a little while ago. To those of you that follow us and haven't had the chance to go to one of our shows, I would strongly encourage for you to go check out one of our live shows, to come say hi. And to those that have, thank you for the support. And to those of you that are interested, the next album is coming out pretty soon. So, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of weeks. Yeah, to anybody who listens to us, who streams us, who's bought anything from us, giving us a hug at a show, whatever the case may be,
Bought a shot.
bought us a shot. We love you dearly, and we wouldn't be able to do any of the things that we've been able to, and realize some of our dreams and our goals and our aspirations without you, and we appreciate you so much.
Excellent. So, if they were going to buy you a shot, what should it be?
Okay, so
All right, yeah, here we go.
this is where things get a little specific.
Oh,
So-
that's why I'm asking.
And it depends really on the mood, because like it's like, okay, we had a shitty show, just give us alcohol, just give us anything, just give us just battery acid.
Give me whatever's under the bottom shelf. Give me that.
Give me that
a shout-out.
sketchy bottle that's open.
I want
Give me that.
hooch. I want
Give me,
hooch.
yeah. Give me that has a skull X with a radiation sign.
Yeah.
Chug it over here.
Yeah.
But like, if we had a good show, good mood, everything, like, I am a fan of the sweet kind of shots that have like around it or dressed, and they have like, they're all fancy. They have like
Super
either
fancy.
like chile or salt or whatever. I love those.
Yeah.
I don't like drinking just straight up a whiskey shot, even though I've done it, because people are like, here, someone got you this. I'm like, thanks. Oh. So I'll drink it, but I'm not a huge fan of just drinking like whiskey shots. I'll drink tequila instead. But yeah,
I'm the same.
So you're looking
I'm
for
the
a
same.
pumpkin pie shot or a Midori shot?
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yours
bring them
sounds
over.
sweet.
Bring them over, yeah, for sure. And if it's just gonna be a drink, then just bring me a White Claw, please. I don't care.
You said, you know what works with White Claw? A shot in it.
What?
White Claw.
Oh,
If you get
okay.
a grapefruit White Claw and then you put some Deep Eddy's grapefruit in there, you won't even know what hit you. You can't taste any of the booze, and you're face down before you know what
I'm
happened.
gonna go get one right now.
Yeah, that's, apparently, I love to drop shots in beers and shots in things that are like White Claws, and then I forget that it had a shot, and I drink them too fast.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, this
maybe that's
podcast
a
has been brought to you by White Claw.
Drunk Cast brought to you by White Claw. Give you a White Claw. Okay, so yeah, I mean, not everybody I hate whiskey. I don't know if I could even politely get the shot down.
No.
It's
like-
just one of those things.
I took a whiskey shot and it's like halfway down and it's already coming back up. So
That's
it's kind of
me.
like
That's me.
it's
It
middle.
gives me a gag reflex from smelling it. It just makes me really, really sick. So
Yeah.
no, but I'm so glad to meet others, because everybody's always like, "Oh, I love whiskey. Oh, I love whiskey," and I'm like, "Oh, don't get it near me, because I might throw up whatever I'm drinking too."
Yeah, not as a like be a man, drink a whiskey shot. No, I'm good. I'm
No,
okay.
give me the fruity
Give me
stuff.
the fruity stuff.
Give me the
yeah.
sweet
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Give me the good
That's
stuff.
the same. That's the
Like
same.
this.
Although one of the worst shots I ever had was called the chocolate covered pretzel, and it was made with Bailey's and whatever else, and I call it it's in a genre I call foul shots, which are disgusting sweet but not fruity, and they will
Yeah.
make you throw up. So don't bring just bring fruity
That
shots.
sounds disgusting.
Yeah, it doesn't sound too pleasurable.
So Twin Tribes, fruity shots.
Fruity shot.
Please get it right. Please.
Unless the show was bad, then it's battery acid. Just bring
Then
it's
the
battery
earbuds
acid,
and hook
yeah.
up the ears, guys. It'll all be good.
If we sucked. We sucked. Please feel free to fucking throw it at us.
Give me that motor oil.
Yeah.
Have you actually had a bad show? Have you had a shit show? Oh, shit show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're our own worst critics, so we technically have to have like a like. I don't think we've had like one perfect show.
Oh
And
my
that's
god.
it. That's
Oh my
it.
god, I've seen you guys twice and you were fantastic both times. I mean,
we're just so critical of ourselves. You know, we always want to.
Well, always
the
striving for
best.
better.
Yeah.
I get it, because now I have to go through and edit this, and I'm going to want to edit out all of me and just keep you. But yeah, striving for perfection. It's kind of what makes innovation in art, music, the arts in general, is that striving for perfection and always looking kind of at the next thing while you're doing the thing that you're doing, I can respect that. I think that Ceremony, it has a little bit of a different sound. I'm very excited to hear the rest of it, because I think it sounds really good on just the 3 songs that are out there. So I like that your perfection is working for you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. We're excited for everyone to listen to this album. It's it's different, and we're not nervous at all.
Oh, you're not scared.
So-
You're not shaking in your boots. What if the
No,
first review
you're
comes out
scared.
and
I'm
they
not
hate it?
scared.
What if the first review comes out and they hate it? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna go after the radiation
gonna-
booze?
I won't cry.
I am not gonna go in the tub and cry.
Turn on the shower.
I'm not gonna go in the shower and cry with knives and a big bottle of booze.
Yeah. Just play some
Well-
choir boy in the background.
Hello, choir boy.
I love choir boy too. I love it.
So hey, thanks for watching. Until next time.